system that they were trying to run there, it just never works. And the only way to change it is to get rid of the high-priced players or get rid of the coach, which it seems like they went with the cheaper option, which was to ditch the coach and hopefully they bring in somebody, that understands the MLS way of doing things and the MLS system, and they find some defenders and stop playing midfielders on the wings and midfielders at striker and midfielders everywhere, and get that turned around. Because as far as I'll just speak from their supporters. They deserve a good team. They're amazing. They're amazing support in Cincinnati, and what they're seeing and what they've gone through. I understand. We went through it in Minnesota.
Yes, we did.
So I want to see them have hopefully the same turnaround that we're starting to see in Minnesota. So.
And I should know this. Is Nippert Stadium their permanent home going forward?
No. So they're building a stadium on the west end, I think, in Cincinnati.
Okay.
So it should be done in a couple years. So they're following the same United plan
thing. Yeah.
So they're playing they played in Nippert in USL, but they're playing in a temp stadium until they get their new stadium. So,
Jen, do you have anything?
No.
Yeah.
Let's break away from. I think we're kind of finishing it up, but let's break away from soccer a little bit.
Yes, you have a story that's going to drag on to the third episode now.
No, there's no story. It's a story.
Is this the zombie stuff?
It's zombie stuff.
All right.
It's for Rob.
And I'm sorry because we had the Thunderwall on last episode, and we had a great talk about zombies, right?
Which was way livelier than it ever should have been.
Yeah, it got crazy, and I loved it. Right?
Turbo gets excited. Yeah.
And so we talked about MnDOT and stuff. Now, coming to Chicago, I have a totally new theory about Chicago. If zombies ended up in Chicago, they'd have the L to get on. They could get anywhere.
Yeah. Well,
they just get on the train.
Except Bridgeview, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Out here, it would be a good place
wait
to
a
be.
minute now. You do have to go through those gates. You have to go through the gates
That's
and
a
scan
good
your car.
But do you think that the zombies would they'd have a card, though, right?
No, I don't think so.
But they wouldn't be able to use it anymore.
Why not?
You're giving them way too much credit.
I'm just saying.
We were just talking about how they couldn't get up my driveway because it was too slippery. Now you're saying they can operate an L gate?
There's no way they're going to be able to use the machine to get a car.
Okay.
Someone would have to give them a car.
Well, maybe there's a smart zombie who would be there.
And realistically
doing the whole thing.
speaking, who would give a zombie a car?
If you follow George A. Romero at all, they do evolve in the sort.
See, Nels is right.
Oh my God!
Exactly right.
Well, now I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. Thanks a lot.
See,
Great.
Plus, there's an app for the L, so
yeah,
they can pull up their zombie phones and
exactly right. Exactly, Corey. Come on. I'm sorry. I going to Chicago and I see the L everywhere, and I'm going. Well, that's another reason.
Back up. This is maybe my 10th, 12th trip to Chicago. There's an app for the L.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm going to have to get this.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't. I should know that.
Mm-hmm.
You
so
can
you don't have to use those stupid cards?
You can buy day passes and
just scan your
3-day
phone.
passes and 7-day passes. Yeah.
And zombies would do this.
It's an amazing average app.
Yeah.
I feel like a zombie would not have the dexterity to hang onto a phone.
All right, we talked about this in the last podcast. Remember that the zombies, they get smarter, and we talked about it, and the MnDOT and the clearing the roads and stuff. I mean, come on.
But, come on, what are the odds of a zombie attack, anyways?
They're not great odds. I'm just saying.
Well, that also came up last episode about...
I know.
Yeah.
The Thunderwall guys were like, there was concern about where were we living, what dimension were we living in? Are we living in this dimension or this dimension?
I mean, Nate completely just took that conversation somewhere.
Nate got crazy.
I was not expecting.
He got nuts. I mean, it was like, what dimension are we living in? Are we in the George Romero? Are we in this? Or it was like
I haven't thought
things I haven't thought of this before. You know?
See, now, I mean, your conversation, your argument, makes me feel a little uneasy because I would think if I were in Chicago in the zombie apocalypse, I would go to the L.
I would
to get away from it.
I wouldn't
because it would be high up.
No, I think they get on there.
So are we talking like Walking Dead
See,
zombies?
again, Janet,
or are we talking like World War Z zombies where they're just like...
We don't know.
I think it would be the Walking Dead type.
Yeah.
Well, they're not super smart. I mean, you know.
They're not.
Yeah, according to Nate, yet.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly right.
I think here's the thing. I think if a zombie apocalypse or zombie attack occurred here in Chicago, I mean, I think the L would be out of commission almost instantly. I think that because you think about, they're running on tracks here.
Yeah.
I think it would take no time before zombies started piling up on those tracks, making.
But the tracks are electrocuted, so
it doesn't matter.
Aren't they zombies?
Would zombies be affected by that? I don't know.
I don't know.
Only if it severed their head.
See, these are things we don't think about. I just bring it up.
And then if you've got to figure the electrical grid is going down in a matter of, it won't take that long, right?
Well, no. Whoa. When we talked about MnDOT, we said MnDOT was going to keep going in Minnesota. Remember?
I would think the electrical grid would stay up.
Wouldn't you think Chicago would keep the L going? It's kind of like their MnDOT. They keep the L going. Otherwise, Chicago dies, right?
Well,
I would think so.
Chicago would die. I mean,
Well, yeah, at some point.
where are they going to escape to? Lake Michigan? Can zombies walk on the floor of the
Again,
lake?
so
Whoa, that's a whole nother argument.
and
Whoa.
does Lake Michigan freeze over?
Well, no, actually, I don't know.
No.
Is it like
Doesn't freeze over
Superior?
at all?
No.
Superior, I know
Maybe a
Superior
little
does.
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, on the edges.
Michigan,
Yeah.
on the edges though. Okay, so they couldn't walk across.
No, I don't think
anything
so.
But
like
wouldn't
that.
they freeze? Like zombies would
We
freeze.
we
discussed this
last
last
podcast.
episode, yeah.
And we said now if they froze up, what would happen in springtime?
It would be a little bit like the dog
Smell.
poo issue.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
So in the
Smell.
spring,
bunch of zombies
And,
in
it,
the yard.
and the snow melts, and all of a sudden you got zombies all over your yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. Blows my mind.
And then would they wake up?
Right.
See, there you go.
It'd be like cryogenic freezing.
It would be.
well, if you just kill the zombie king, don't they all die?
That's Game of Thrones.
Now, Corey, that's
Let's go.
actually a good question. Is there a zombie king
Or queen? That's
or a zombie
Exactly.
president? Do they vote? Do they have a senate? These are things that I don't know.
Whoa, that's just.
I know
way
it's
too
crazy.
far.
I know it's crazy, but I had
They
to bring
like
it up.
vampires. You kill the head, and everybody just falls over and dies.
I
You
would
see?
lean towards anarchy
See?
as far as
This
zombies
explodes.
we're trying to stretch
Zombies
this to a
are kind of
fourth
an
episode.
anarchist.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
think by nature they are. They would.
So I should like zombies.
I kind of.
Okay, I got you,
I didn't
I got
want to
you.
get political,
Huh.
but I think
So
I would lean towards.
Nels brought a good point. There's a movie called Dead Snow. They don't freeze.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
like
like
a-
a Norwegian
no.
zombie.
I should move
So
over.
Norwegian.
And is
Norwegian
this available on
zombies.
Nazi
Netflix?
zombies.
Like I said,
Whoa.
we're trying to stretch this to a fourth episode for you. So we're going to leave some unanswered questions.
Well, I mean,
Should we get Nels in here? He has.
I mean, now we're starting to get we're talking about fascist zombies.
I know. And I had to bring it up because we're in Chicago and there's a lot of differences here. So, but I think we should probably leave it at this.
We could survive here.
We definitely
As
could
long as
survive
there's,
here,
you don't really need food if you have beer.
No.
It's got
That was
calories.
proven recently.
Actually, I proved that the last 2 days. It's crazy. It's great. I mean,
What was I listening? I think I was listening. It might have been Adam Carolla. There was a guy who survived strictly on beer and water for
30 days.
a long time.
Yeah.
It was at least a month.
Yeah.
Well, I've read about the porter diet.
And he
Yeah.
lost apparently he lost like 30 or 40 pounds. Imagine that if you're not.
of course.
Yeah, I've heard there's some guy that did a diet where he just drank porters and water,
There you go.
and apparently it worked really well.
I mean, you got the carbohydrates. You got there actually is a very depending on what you're drinking, there's a small amount of protein.
Right.
Most of it's water. That's healthy. It can take you a long ways.
There are some omega-3s in wheat,
Sure.
barley. So
Yes, but here's the deal, guys. If you listen to our podcast, you learn things. You learn things you probably
it might be
wouldn't know.
useless.
It might be useless, but it might be useful at some point, right?
Small. I mean,
More than likely useless.
zombie knowledge is good to have, and the remote. It's a very minute possibility, but if it does happen,
So I had to do it.
So I wanted to bring something up that is Minnesota related.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, Minnesota United related. And it's related to Coke being fired. Does Minnesota United have an identity?
Yes.
And if they don't, does it really matter? There's a reason that I bring this up because Warshaw from MLS.com says we don't.
Do we have an identity at all?
But he said, he also kind of made that argument of, does it really matter if we do? He said that we're kind of one of those teams that's we're right on that cusp of being a good team. And with the players we have, we might be able to make it work. But is there a point where we're going to have to try to find that? Because, Adrian Heath has done the 4-2-3-1. He's done the 4-3-3 now this year.
Yeah.
He hasn't, right? He hasn't done the 3 anything yet this year. Right?
But does it matter? Do we have to have an identity? Do we have to have an identity?
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, do we need one?
Not having an identity is our identity.
Exactly right.
You know what I mean?
Jen brings a good point. There's lots of teams that don't have identities.
We don't need to prove it to anybody.
You just go out there and win.
Right.
Yeah. Do we have to be Tiki Taka?
No. We don't.
No.
Don't have to be.
Barcelona roll on the floor.
No.
When we get touched.
No, we don't.
That was our 2017 identity.
Yeah.
With Ibsen.
Ibsen perfected it.
You just look at, from an outsider's perspective, I know this has changed a little bit, especially recently, but where, an outsider, not necessarily a fan of the United, might look at the Loons and say, well, it's an entertaining team to watch because they score goals. They give up goals. Well, guess what? That makes for an entertaining brand of football.
I mean, for me, I'm kind of the one that tries to put a tactical view on everything.
Yeah.
It's like, are we a counter-attacking team? I mean, Heath kind of seems like he wants us to be.
I don't think it matters.
But Angelo can't counter-attack.
No. I don't think it matters.
But I love Angelo's play.
Yeah, but I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I mean, sports writers can write that crap about us all they want to.
Well, and they're going to because that's their job.
But it doesn't matter. We don't have to have an identity.
So are you saying Bobby Warshaw is an idiot?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm saying he has to write something because he gets paid to do so.
No comment.
No comment. And of course, before we get out of here, we always talk about this on our podcast. We either have dogs or kids or noises somewhere, but we
currently have an uncooperative.
We have an uncooperative dog right now.
He's quiet.
Spirited games of bags going on, or cornhole, or whatever.
Yes,
no,
we apologize for the fact that somebody might have thought we were getting shot at.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
It was just beanbags hitting wood.
If it's not my neighbor pressure washing his boat while we're doing podcasts out of my garage, or a dog barking, or kids screaming, or people playing bags, it wouldn't be a podcast.
Right.
It's true.
And it adds to the ambiance.
Of course,
that is our podcast.
It'd be boring if it wasn't.
Right. I mean, we could record out of a studio.
We could. That'd be boring though.
Right.
Oh, quick hitter. I mean, this is going 180 here a little bit, but quick hitter about the fact that this most likely will be our last game at SeatGeek Stadium.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but certainly in MLS capacity.
It could be. That's interesting.
So
I never really thought about that.
They are potentially moving to Soldier Field.
They are moving to
moving
Soldier Field. They announced that's next year. They announced it Thursday.
Oh, this Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
They announced it. Yeah, 2 days ago. So the men's team is moving to Soldier Field. The women's team is staying in Bridgefield.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Okay, so that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's our last game seeing this.
It's almost depressing because this is
unless you want to come down and see an NWSL match, which I highly recommend. By the way,
they're playing tomorrow.
They're playing tomorrow at 5:00. So if you guys are in town,
we'll be on a flight back.
We'll be there tomorrow. So.
You guys?
Stars,
cool.
My liver needs a rest. That's why I took Monday off. From work.
You don't have to drink when you're in Chicago.
That's true.
Yeah, I kind of do actually.
It's a fairly okay city if you don't drink.
Yeah. No.
All the culture, Tony.
My culture cup
we
ran
talked about
over
this
yesterday.
Thursday night.
Okay.
Apparently Thursday night, his culture cup was overflowing.
It was overflowing.
That was with the Willis Tower of all
Willis
things.
Tower, and then the Bean.
We went to Millennium Park to see the Bean. We went to Willis Tower.
I was like, his culture cup must be really small.
Yeah.
It's very small.
Did you go ride the Ferris wheel?
No, don't.
See, so
Corey, no, I don't want to ride the Ferris wheel.
So see,
no.
Culture Cup didn't run over.
No, yes, it did.
Is that down by the Navy Pier?
It's at the end of the pier.
Okay, yeah, we've been to the pier a couple times, but we didn't make it there this year. So,
I think you had mentioned the Institute of Art.
We walked right by it. I would have been happy to go.
And then I saw that Rembrandt was going to be there, and I was like, well, that would be pretty cool. But Tony was not having any more culture.
No.
Then you have the aquarium out there by Soldier Field.
I I'm done. No.
Then you got the zoo.
I filled it up.
Two zoos?
Two zoos?
I filled it up.
And really,